Deleted session, December 20, 1971. Now, is it all right for me to come in now? Ralph said, yes. Seth said, dare I make a few comments about yesterday and today? Ralph said, sure. Seth said, I will make the remarks concerning yesterday first. Robert was in poor shape yesterday. You helped him because he was aware of your love and concern. You did make that obvious. He knew you were making every effort to provide your end of a Merry Christmas with the tree. His condition was the result of denying feelings and trying to hold them back again, so as not to accept the apple cart. The feelings were told to shut up. They were not intelligent. They were beneath consideration. They were not approved of, and intellectually Rupert silenced them before giving them adequate voice or expression. The feelings can be adequately handled through reason and emotion after they are allowed expression. Now, your remark, not verbatim, come on, get with it, worked to some extent, for it roused his desire to give you a good day, not to spoil it, and his spirits rose to some degree. But you did not encourage him to express the feelings. Both of you dealt with the matter in the old way, to some extent. He told himself he understood what the feelings were and did not approve of them, but he did not allow them expression at all. In the past, a whole series of counter-impressions would have occurred. Your love and concern would not have been so apparent. You would have become dejected as a result of his condition. He would have interpreted that as disapproval and rejection, and a good week's time might have been spent under the same conditions. So you have improved. But see what should have been done. You should have encouraged him to release the feelings, and the two of you faced them together. They were not that terrible, you see. Ralph said, I didn't think of it. Seth said, now, what Rupert said about the beloved monster. Ralph noted, Willie, our cat. Seth said, is true. Ralph noted, this afternoon, Jane had some very good insights as to why we had taken in the kitten, Parmesan, who, incidentally, is now gone to the parents of friends. Seth said, the loving encounter of this evening was extremely beneficial, and I mentioned the value right after the last such episode. The combination of love and physical touch, and the inner intent, is highly important. Reread what I told you. It will save us time, regarding the way in which emotions are buried within the body, and at your loving touch given release. This is also of additional benefit to you, as you see that Rupert responds to you and is not beyond your reach. Do you follow me? Ralph said, yes. Seth said, I want Rupert to discuss those feelings with you also of yesterday. He thinks, simply because he knows them and disapproves of them, that thinking alone removes them. Now, your relationship, as I told you, is a creative springboard for you both. The summary development would not have occurred until your relationship had a revival, and further creative developments have already been sparked for the same reason. You may take a break, and we may resume with other material, unless, of course, you have questions on the above material. Rob said, "No, I guess." Rob noted, Jen's trends had been good. We discussed the events of yesterday, and the fact that my mother is due to return to Sarah on Sunday, December 26th. Jen and I are to spend Christmas in Rochester with Brother Dick and family, and bring Mother back with us. They said, "Now, I fear I am needed. I told you that in the past a week might have gone on with yesterday's conditions, plus the fact that I would not have been permitted to give you information or feedback. And certainly a day such as today would not have followed. A day like today is extremely significant to both of you, for it builds up inner confidence, particularly on Rupert's part. Even your behavior yesterday, while not what I might have been, was supportive enough to keep the situation from getting out of hand, and the memory of your night's dancing was also supportive, so that you have more supportive elements to cushion various situations. In fact, your behavior yesterday was so appreciated that it led to the creative inspiration of your Christmas present, which is an exciting creative endeavor. I dare not say more." Rob noted this was Jen's inspiration to write a series of songs for me in summary. This development promises many excellent ramifications. They said, "Your visit to class." Rob noted Tuesday, December 14. They said, "Meant much to Ruber and to the other students. By your complete absence, you see, you also led them to suspect that you disapproved, for they knew that in your other activities cyclically you worked together. It was a symbolic gesture then of importance. You also did not attend until the summer development. Now, a small note. Your poor, misguided, unjolly bachelor friend downstairs did you a service many times, in complimenting your wife when you were unable to do so, in giving her a sense or a glimmer of female pride or appreciation when you were unable to communicate, and you knew this. You were partially grateful for it, and partially angry, but at yourself. Now that Ruber is coming to you more fully again, and your neighbor's compliments and flirtations are no longer needed, you are ready to jump on him, both of you. Ruber was glad many times that a man found her attractive when she did not see that answering glimmer in your eye. Not that it was entirely your fault now. He tries to be gallant. He is also worried because of his own nature that women find him unattractive, because of age, and because of a feeling for the other sex. He wants to feel that he is not so much a homosexual as that he leaves women unaffected. For this reason, his comments and manner grow more out of bounds as he grows older and becomes more frightened. I wanted to give you insight on that, however. Now, take a break. Today can be considered a touchstone. Both of you did things right. Now, we will continue then along present lines. I told you, in the context given, that Rupert was emotionally deprived, this showing in the physical condition, that you were also to some extent, this showing in your work. The beloved monster lost weight, looked neglected, lost his luster, became listless unless forced into activity, looked older. Now, he was suddenly deprived of his position. The emotional energy usually given him automatically was transferred elsewhere. You saw the sudden change. He also became in his own way obstinate. He carries no grudges. When the condition was righted, he became miraculously springing back to normal. Now, Rupert's weight is a part of the whole picture. Added to this are certain attitudes of your own. That is, attitudes both of you have. Both of you have the same attitude, which means that they are magnified, doing double duty. These are emotional. You may make intellectual adjustments yourself, but Rupert has not made them. The emotional attitudes are, weight is bad. Whenever you speak of weight yourself, it is with that connotation. People are overweight. The good word does not have the word weight in it. It is slim. It is the word weight now that is loaded. Forgive my pun. Whenever the word is used, it has negative connotation to you both. To put on weight is not desirable. Your diet has been geared with that in mind. Granted, Rupert exaggerated where you made adjustments, but both of your emotional attitudes are the same at that level. Eating is more a gluttonous endeavor to you in that regard. The preparation of food is a waste of time. It takes time away from more valuable things, both in its preparation and clean-up later. It is too sensuous. Those are your attitudes emotionally. Food must be kept as simple as possible, as unobtrusive. There is little fun connected with it. Now, you do vary in your attitudes, but only in degree. You will be more adventurous or inventive perhaps at this time, but the strict emotional attitude remains the same. The kitchen is the least important part of your house. These attitudes, then, do not help. To some extent, Rupert is in a quandary. For the idea of gaining weight seems to contradict other deeply buried feelings. These feelings have much to do with the conflicts Rupert feels with your friends Claire and Bob, for they go to the opposite extreme, where life revolves around nourishment. Give us time. You both often criticize those who are overweight, emphasizing in your minds and feelings the lack of control this implies to you, the overindulgence. This brings up those ideas of discipline, of giving into feeling, by implication. Rupert considers it in very poor taste to all and are overfood. Both of you enjoy a sense of moral superiority in the presence of your brothers' families, that they eat so heartily, while you refrain. Both of you now prove that you are not sunken in materialism by being thin. Rupert simply carries this further than you do. rigidly holding his ground despite all entreaties to the contrary. Rob asked, "Will knowing all of this do him any good?" They said, "It will indeed, but other steps should be taken." The phrase "giving into your appetite" is important here. It is one of the reasons, for example, why he does not like to eat, generally, in front of others. It is a moral principle to him, but also applies privately. It involves not being fleshly in voluptuous terms, a kind of aesthetic discipline that morally disapproves of others. The sexual connotations are obvious and added on. When he did not feel loved, he would not eat. The two appetites, you see. He did not, in the past now, feel nourished. When your intimate situation improves, so will his eating habits. But oddly enough, the reserve also applies. When his eating habits improve, so will your intimate lives. Your tempting him to eat, for example, and underlying tempting, has strong sexual connotations to which he will respond, both sexually and through eating more. Both of you also have emotional ideas, now being tempered, I hope. Emotional feelings. Not to deny sex or minimize it is to improve your creative capacity. Instead, you squeeze yourself dry. Philosophically and practically, there are many ramifications on this subject that I hope to cover. But what I have said for now applies. The word tempt is important, for it implies on your part a willingness to have him taste and share with you both through food and sexual enjoyment. Telling him to eat without understanding your own emotional attitude is useless, for he picks up and exaggerates the Puritan-like feelings toward food. Your preparing food for him now and then as a counterpoint can help. Rob said, "I usually cook breakfast now." They said, "He does have, as you do, buried sensuous tastes that can be cultivated. He's buried far more than yours. Your combined emotional feelings toward food have been exaggerated by him. He thinks you disapprove, for example, of the very foods you tell him to eat, the sugars and the starches. You condemn them, except when mentioning them to him. Do you want a break?" Rob said, "Yes." They said, "You may end the session if you prefer." Rob said, "I think we had better. It's been very helpful." They said, "My heartiest regards." Rob said, "Thank you, Seth. Good night."